Hello, everyone. I'm tacking on a short share over here so that we should be able to finish the Dirshu page today. We're on Mem Vav Amid Beis, and we had stopped 3 lines off the bottom in the Shulchan Aruch at Sif Hey. I'm going to pick up now and do the Mechaber in Sif Hey. We'll go through the Mechaber and we'll stop by the Ramah at the end of the page. So let's just remember, yesterday in Sif Daled, we were speaking about a very interesting case. Let's say we have some people who had a Suda on Friday afternoon. They made some kind of a Suda on Erev Shabbos, way before Shabbos started. This is a Friday Suda. This is not a Shabbos Suda. They're washed, they're eating bread, they're eating pas, and they also made a Bar Priagofen during this Suda, and they're also drinking wine. Now, at some point in the middle of the Suda, one of two things happened. Either they decided to be Mekabel Shabbos, or the Zman of Shabbos arrived. So even without them going to be Mekabel Shabbos, it's automatically Shabbos. Now, they're no longer allowed to eat, because now it's Shabbos, and they can't eat until they make Kiddush. So we spoke yesterday, exactly what do they have to do? They have to break, they have to interrupt their Suda, and they have to make Kiddush. We went through a whole complicated cheshbon over here of exactly what the format of this Kiddush should be. One of the things that we said is, if they made a Bar Priagofen as part of the Suda that they're in the middle of, and they drank wine as part of that Suda, now when they go to make Kiddush, the Mechaber said, they're going to make Kiddush without a new Bar Priagofen. Why would they make a new Bar Priagofen? They already made a Bar Priagofen during this Suda. They've been drinking wine. 2 minutes ago, the guy was sitting here and he was sipping a beautiful Cabernet. If he wants to make Kiddush now, he can't make another Bar Priagofen, so he's going to make the Kiddush without making a Bar Priagofen. Now, in Sif Hey, we're going to have a similar case, but there's going to be a little difference in the halacha. Says the Mechaber here in Sif Hey, 3 lines off the bottom in Vav Amid Beis. Shnayim shayu shoisim. 2 people who were sitting together, and they were drinking. They were drinking wine. So 2 chaverim, they got together for a shmooze. They brought out a nice bottle of Cabernet. They made a Bar Priagofen, and they're drinking wine. And this is happening on Erev Shabbos. Again, it's happening on Erev Shabbos, before the Zman of Shabbos, before they were Mekabel Shabbos. So they made a Bar Priagofen, and they're sitting and they're sipping wine. Shnayim shayu shoisim. 2 people are sitting and they're drinking wine. V'amru, and then they say, you know what? Boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim. It's already after Plag. It's already close to Shabbos, or it's already the Zman at least that we could be Mekabel Shabbos. And they say, we've got a beautiful Cabernet over here. V'amru boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim. Let's make Kiddush. So again, they're sitting. They made a Bar Priagofen already. They're drinking wine. And now suddenly they looked and they said, you know what? It's after Plag. We have wine here. Boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim. Let's make Kiddush. Okay. The first thing that happens is, says the Mechaber, Nesar aleim lishtois ad sheyikachu. So right away, they're not allowed to continue drinking. Because now that they said boyu unekadesh, and it's after Plag HaMincha, so you're already in this man that you could be Mekabel Shabbos. By saying boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim, which literally means come, let's make Kiddush, let's be Mekadesh Shabbos, boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim. By saying that, they just brought onto themselves the chiyuv of Kiddush. Once they have the chiyuv of Kiddush, you're not allowed to drink anything, not allowed to eat anything, not even water, like we learned yesterday. So right away, says the Mechaber, they said boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim, nesar aleim lishtais ad sheyikachu. They're not allowed to continue drinking until they make Kiddush. Okay. Let's say they say, Boyu nekadesh kiddush hayoim, and okay, we'll make Kiddush. But then they start schmoozing again. And now they want to go take a drink. So first of all, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to take a drink, because they're not allowed to drink until they make Kiddush. But let's say they want to take a drink, and they go to take a drink. If they want to take another drink before they make Kiddush, it's also b'drabanan. They're not allowed to take another drink until they make Kiddush. Says the Mechaber, if they do want to go ahead and take another drink, If they want to take another drink now, they're going to have to make a bar priagafen, va'achakach yishtu, and then they could drink. Now they can't. I don't want to say the words they can drink because it's usher for them to drink, because they're not allowed to drink before they make kiddush. But in the world, in the context of Hilchas Brachas, what the Mechaber is saying is, if they want to take another drink now, even though they're not allowed to, because of the halachas of Shabbos, the halachas of Kiddush, but if they want to go take another drink, they would need another bar priagafen. So now, let's just, before we see the Mishnah Berurah, let's break down the halacha that the Mechaber just told me, and let's see what's missing. There's a very valuable piece of instruction that we don't have from this Mechaber. There's something that the Mechaber didn't address, something very important the Mechaber didn't tell us. So what did the Mechaber say? The scenario that the Mechaber is giving me is, two people are sitting around the table on Erev Shabbos, before the Siman of Shabbos. They have a beautiful bottle of Cabernet. They're sitting in their drink. They made a bar priagafen. They're sitting and drinking wine. One says to the other, Boyu nekadish kiddush hayom. Let's make kiddush. All right. You said, let's make kiddush. You now brought on yourself the chiyuv of kiddush. Are you allowed to take another drink now? No, you're not allowed to take another drink. Why? Because you're not allowed to drink anything until you make kiddush. Okay, fine. You have to make kiddush now. You're not allowed to drink anything unless you make kiddush. All right. The guy does now something that he's not allowed to do. He decides, I'm going to take another drink of wine, even though I'm not allowed to, but I'm going to take another drink of wine. Does he have to make a bar priagafen or not? Says the Mechaber, yes. He has to make another bar priagafen. Now, the Mechaber doesn't tell me why, but the Mechaber says he has to make another bar priagafen. Okay, pause. What's the important halacha that the Mechaber didn't tell me? Let's say he doesn't want to take another drink of wine. Let's say he does the right thing. They said, Bayu nekadish kiddush hayom. So the guy says, okay, let's make kiddush. Does he have to make a bar priagafen by kiddush? Let's analyze this based on what we learned yesterday. Yesterday we learned you're having a Suda, like I spoke about in the Hakdama to this year. You're having a Suda on Erev Shabbos. You made a bar priagafen as part of that Suda. Now it's the Zman of Shabbos. You're Makabel Shabbos. Now you have to make Kiddush. You're going to make Kiddush, but you're not going to make a new bar priagafen. Why? Because you already made a bar priagafen. That's what we learned yesterday. So how about today? L'chaira, I would say that the halacha is the same. I would say you're sitting with your buddy and you're drinking. You say, Bayu nekadish kiddush hayom. Okay, now do the right thing, make kiddush. Do you make a bar priagafen on the kiddush? Based on what we learned yesterday, I would say, no, you don't make a bar priagafen on the kiddush. You already made a bar priagafen. You're sitting and drinking Cabernet with your friend. You already made a bar priagafen. You're going to make kiddush now. You're going to make kiddush without a new bar priagafen, right? That's the halacha that I would say. All right. Now let's plug that into what the Mechaber said. These people are not doing the right thing. They don't make kiddush right away. And they want to take another drink of wine. Says the Mechaber they have to make a bar priagafen. Why? Why? Why do they have to make a bar priagafen? If they're going to make kiddush, they're not going to make a new bar priagafen. So why is it that if they don't make kiddush, they do have to make a bar priagafen? Now we're going to see the answer in the Mishnah Berurah, but just to give it to you straight, I just brought up the question, let me give you the answer. The answer is that we're going to look at the wine of Kiddush and the wine that they're drinking that they're not supposed to drink before Kiddush. We look at them through very different lenses. When these people are sitting and they're drinking wine together and they say, Bayu nekadesh Kiddush hayom, the chiyuv of Kiddush falls on them and now it's also for them to drink anything. By saying Bayu nekadish kiddush hayom, the Mishnah Berurah is going to say, that constitutes hesach hadas. You are now mesiach das on drinking any other wine. Because when you say Bayu nekadish kiddush hayom, you're making it usher to drink. You're not allowed to drink anymore. So you're mesiach das from drinking wine. Since you're mesiach das, you need a new bracha. But that doesn't apply to the wine of Kiddush. Because when you say, Bayu nekadish Kiddush hayom, what are you saying? You're saying, let's make Kiddush. As part of Kiddush, you're going to drink wine. So it's very interesting. You're sitting with your chaver, and you made a bar priagafen, you're sitting and you're drinking wine. Now you say, Bayu nekadish Kiddush hayom. What we say is like this. You were now mesiach das from drinking any further wine other than the wine of Kiddush. So if you make Kiddush now, you're going to make Kiddush without a new Bari Priyagofen. But if you want to take another drink of Cabernet now before Kiddush, that would require a new Bari Priyagofen because you were Mesiach Das from that drink. Okay, so now we've covered two of the wines that are Negea here. We've covered the wine of Kiddush. That's not going to need a new Bari Priyagofen because you aren't Mesiach Das from that. You literally said, Bayu Nekadesh Kiddush Hayom. You're saying, let's make Kiddush, which means let's drink wine. So you weren't Mesiach Das from that wine. If you want to drink wine before Kiddush, that wine would require a new Bari Priyagofen because you were Mesiach Das from that wine. Okay, but there's a third wine that we have to talk about. What about if you go now and you make Kiddush without a Bari Priyagofen, and now after Kiddush you want to drink new wine? Does that wine need a Bari Priyagofen? The Mishnah Berurah is going to say no. The Mishnah Berurah is going to say that wine also does not need a new Bari Priyagofen, because that's going to be like the halacha that we learned yesterday. We're going to look at it, we're going to say, once you drink the Kiddush wine based on the old Bari Priyagofen, so now if you want to drink wine later, what hefsek is there to make you need a new Hagofen for that wine? So you would say, well, you just told me you were Mesiach Das. But not really, because the wine that you were Mesiach Das from was any wine that you want to drink before Kiddush. By saying Bayu Nekadesh Kiddush Hayom, it became usher for you to drink any wine before Kiddush. So the wine before Kiddush that you want to drink Be'isser, that wine you were Mesiach Das from. So that wine needs a new Bari Priyagofen. The wine of Kiddush, you are not Mesiach Das from. So that wine does not need a new Bari Priyagofen. The wine that you drink after Kiddush, you also weren't Mesiach Das from. Because after Kiddush, it's mutter to drink wine. So you weren't Mesiach Das from that wine either. And there was no hefsek because the bracha of Kiddush doesn't constitute a hefsek. So that wine is not going to need a new Hagofen. So it comes out the only wine that would need a new Bari Priyagofen is exactly the one that the Mechaber addresses. When the Mechaber says, Im rotzu lachsa v'lishtais kaidem sheyakadshu afa pi she'enam rashayim, if they want to drink wine be'isser before they make Kiddush, tzrichem lachsa u'levarech tchila Bari Priyagofen, that wine would require a new Bari Priyagofen. Let's see this inside in the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah is cut in Yud Tes. So these two people are sitting and they're drinking together. Va'amru bayu nekadesh, and they say, "Come, let's make Kiddush." Umayri hacha b'ba'od yom. Chafetz Chaim says, obviously the Mechaber is talking here about two people who are sitting down and drinking wine together on Erev Shabbos before the Zman. Di'ilu b'safek chashecha, because if it's already ben hashmashos, the choshken b'vadei chashecha, or it's already vadai laila after tzesek yechavim, and it's already vadai Shabbos, afilu lo yamru bayu nekadesh. Even if they don't say bayu nekadesh, memela chal chavis kiddush, the chiyuv of kiddush was already chal on them, va'asur lecha v'lishtais, and they're not allowed to eat or drink k'mach kasam if dalit. Ice cut and chaf. Now they're not allowed to drink anything ad sheyakadshu. Dal yedei amiras bayu nekadesh, because by virtue of the fact that they said bayu nekadesh, chol aleim chayvas kiddush hayim, the chiyuv of kiddush falls on them now. V'neser aleim lishtais, and it becomes also for them to drink. Ice cut and chaf aleph v'imratzu. The Mechaber said if they want to drink wine now before kiddush, be'isser, they would need a new Bari Priyagofen. Hatam, the reason for this is, says the Mishnah Berurah, like we explained, because by saying Bayu Nekadesh Kiddush Hayom, that's a clear indication that they were Mesiach Das of any further drinking, because it's also for them to drink now until they make Kiddush. So they're Mesiach Das from any further drinking before Kiddush. Not after Kiddush. But the Mesiach Das from any further drinking before Kiddush, with the exception of the actual kais of Kiddush. Halachically, this is very similar to a halacha that we learned by the halachas of benching, of Birkas Hamazon, that if you're sitting by a Suda and you say, Havlan unavarech, let's bench. Once you say let's bench, you're not allowed to eat or drink anything anymore, because now you were Mesiach Das from any further eating. Nevertheless, al kais shel kiddush, When it comes to the case of Kiddush, Das HaMagen Avram, it's the opinion of the Magen Avram, she'ein tzarich levarich bar priagafen. The case of Kiddush does not require a new bar priagafen. The yoytze be'abracha sheberech betchilas hashtia. You're going to be yoytze the bar priagafen on the case of Kiddush, on the bar priagafen that you and your buddy made when you first sat down to start drinking wine. Because saying boyu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayoim, let's make Kiddush, that's not an indication that you were Mesiach Das from drinking the Kais Shel Kiddush. Adarabba, you just announced I am going to drink a Kais Shel Kiddush. So you weren't Mesiach Das from that wine. So you're not going to make a new Bar Priagafen on that wine. V'chein, and similarly near it seems to me, says the Chavetz Chaim, de'ein sarach levarach gam ken al yayin sheyishtar acha kodesh l'kiddush. Any further wine that you're going to drink after you make Kiddush also doesn't get a new Bar Priagafen, because you weren't Mesiach Das from that wine either. The only wine that you were Mesiach Das from, when you said Bayu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayoim, is any wine that you want to drink between when you said Bayu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayoim and when you made Kiddush. Because during that time period, it's actually usher for you to drink wine. So by saying Bayu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayoim, you're Mesiach Das from that wine, but you're not Mesiach Das from the Kais Shel Kiddush, and you're also not Mesiach Das from any wine that you want to drink after Kiddush. Well, however, says the Chavetz Chaim, as you can see from this year and from the previous year, these halachas are very complex. Says the Mishnah Berurah, since there are so many layers of complexity over here, royal l'chol bal nefesh lizar shelo yavel lidekach. A bal nefesh. What's a bal nefesh? A bal nefesh means an owner of a neshama. Somebody who cares about his nefesh should not get involved in these shilas. Don't go here. Don't go have a Suda Friday afternoon going into this man of Shabbos and start having shilas about Kiddush and Yahagaf and Noagaf and Amoitzi, no Amoitzi. Stay away from these shilas. Don't do these things. The Mechaber spoke about a case where these buddies who are drinking wine, they say Bayu in the Kaddish, now it's also for them to drink. If they want to drink, even though it's usher, they're going to need a new Bar Priagafen. Says the Mishnah Berurah, why is it aser? It's also for them to drink because by saying Bayu in the Kaddish, they brought upon themselves the Chiyuv of Kiddush. Once you have the Chiyuv of Kiddush, you're not allowed to eat or drink anything until after you make Kiddush. Because of a Taz, the Taz writes, Bayu in the Kaddish. Let's say they didn't say Bayu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayom. Let's say Reuben and Shimon, buddies, they're sitting and they're drinking Cabernet, and they didn't say Bayu in the Kaddish Kiddush Hayom. But they sat drinking wine until the Zman of Shabbos. Says the Taz, if they didn't say Bayu Nekadish, Elo Shehichshich, but what happened was the Zman of Shabbos came. If now they want to take another drink of Cabernet, Be'isr, before they make Kiddush, Ein Tzrichin Lachzor Levarich. In that case, they don't have to make a new Bar Priagafen. After Aser Machmashu Kaim Kiddush, it's also for them to drink because it's before Kiddush. Ha'Isr Levad Ein Oise Hesach Hadas. Let me explain to you what the Mishnah Berurah just said. The Taz is saying like this. The halacha that we just learned is, Reuven and Shimon made a Bar Priagafen, they're sitting and they're drinking. Now they said Bayu Nekadish. They have to make Kiddush. If they don't, and they want to drink more wine before they make Kiddush, Be'isr, they need a new Bar Priagafen. Why? Because by saying Bayu Nekadesh, that signals Hesach Hadas. You are Mesiach Das from drinking any more wine until Kiddush. You're going to drink more wine before Kiddush? You need a new Bar Priagafen. Says the Taz, let's tweak the case a little bit. Not that they were sitting and drinking and they said Bayu Nekadesh. They were sitting and drinking and the Zman of Shabbos came. In a sense, this is the same case. Right? Because they were sitting and they were drinking. The Zman of Shabbos came. Now that the Zman of Shabbos came, the Chiyuv of Kiddush is chal on them. Now that the Chiyuv of Kiddush is chal on them, they're not allowed to drink until they make Kiddush. What if they want to drink before they make Kiddush? Do they make a Bar Priagafen? Says the Taz, no. Why? Because where's the Hesach Hadas? If they say Bayu Nekadesh, that's an announcement that they're making. Let's make Kiddush. Well, if your intent is to make Kiddush, then you understand it's also for you to drink anything more from now until you make Kiddush. You were just Mesiach Das from drinking anything from now until Kiddush by virtue of your announcement, Bayu Nekadesh. But if it's hichshich, if the Zman of Shabbos came, that it's also for you to drink, but you weren't Mesiach Das. You didn't say, I'm no longer drinking. You didn't say, Bayu in the Kadesh. Says the Taz, the fact that it's also for you to drink, it's true, it's also for you to drink, but it doesn't mean that you were Mesiach Das. So if you're over, if you're an Avarian, and you go and you drink, you would not make a new Bayrei Pri Hagafen. That is where we're going to stop. Thank you so much for joining me for Limud HaTorah. This list of Limud HaTorah should be making against Klal Yisrael. The Rebbe Shem should say, Yeshua's for us, Parnasset, Shidduchim, Tolos in need. We should be Zeichen to see the BS God Tzedek, B'meher V'Yameinu. Amen. Be well.